Hello and welcome to this week's podcast. I'm Mod MattHe, and today on the RuneScape sofas we have
Mod Raven
and Mod Asherz,
who are here to have a death match.
That's one way to put it.
Plugel sticks at dawn. Or more seriously, we have more than one type of developer as standard on our teams for RuneScape. We have technical developers and content developers. Which one of you is which?
I'm a content developer.
Which I guess that makes me the technical developer.
Yep. Ha
During this podcast, you might notice a little rivalry between technical developers and content developers. Hence the reference to a death match. If we manage to leave with one developer planting a cushion in another one's face, I will be unsurprised. No, Mod Raven, not yet. So, okay, I'll start with Mod Raven as he's closest. What is a content developer?
So a content developer is the developer that makes the content of the game. So we build the mini games, we build the quests, the stories, all the cool stuff. It's a combination of design and scripting role.
Right.
Because you come up with the ideas, you work out the game mechanics, you plug them in. Hope it doesn't break. Spoiler, breaks quite a lot first time you do it. And then you fix it and it's fine. Then it goes into the game and it's completely fine all the time.
Never breaks.
Never breaks.
You never have to put things in beta and then watch as they break.
Nope. That's all working as intended. The players that were dying in the faction PvP are just the players that we think should die. So it's fine.
Right. Okay. And you expect me to believe that?
Yep.
Okay.
Might work.
So, Mod Asherz, what is a technical developer?
I do something very similar to Mod Raven, apart from I don't do any of the design aspects of things. So
right.
I will take the more technically challenged jobs, for instance, like the Authenticator.
Right.
That's more of a technical project. There's no necessarily design behind it, but in the end, we will. Someone like me or anyone else of my caliber will take it, put it into game, and pretty much do exactly the same things. And we don't break anything either. At all.
But there is design behind it, isn't there? Because you have to consider interfaces and things like that.
Yes,
but
certainly.
The design you do is different to how a content designer...
Yeah, so I won't have any form of narrative or any lore sort of stuff, that kind of thing, but we will still sit down and go, okay, well, I need an interface, I need to do X, Y, Z, and everything else. So that sort of thing is still part of a content role, but I will take anything more challenging from sort of an engine side of perspective.
Something that goes under the hood.
Yes.
Rather than deals with surface
systems and all that sort of stuff.
Okay. And what different skill sets would each of you have that means one of you is technical rather than a content developer then?
We share a lot of skill sets, really, when you boil down to it, but I think it mostly boils down to a content developer has more
imagination.
Well, like to use the imagination. I don't think it's that they necessarily have more imagination. I think it's just like they like to use the imagination a bit more. They're more creative, a bit more of a kind of, I don't know, artistic flair in things.
Right.
Whereas I think the
very logical.
Yeah.
Take a very logical approach to things, and we'll sit down and try and work things out to be more order-based and say that stuff needs to happen in a certain way.
Okay. So what kind of projects would a technical developer work on compared to a content developer?
So, for instance, the Authenticator was one that I mentioned earlier. Anything that sort of spec. So another one would have been the seasonal high scores.
Yeah.
That was a very technical role. The new loot system that's currently in beta. That's another technical role. So that sort of stuff. But anything to that sort of caliber that you see coming into game that doesn't necessarily have any form of sort of narrative way is more of a technical role.
Okay, so both of you could do bits of each other's role, but it's kind of how you approach it that's the difference between you.
Yeah, I think it's also just playing to people's strengths as well.
Okay.
It's like a tech dev, as their name implies, tends to be better at the sort of more focused, nitty-gritty coding bits.
Right.
Whereas content developers are more able to do the sort of questy type things, things with narrative and lore.
So I sit just behind you, Mod Raven, and clearly those kind of technical, under the hood, detaily bits, they're the bits you call the boring bits, yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
They are the bits I call the boring bits. They're the bits where I go, oh God, why? I don't actually do that. I do sometimes, but not all the time.
No, I've heard you do that. And Mod Asherz, who sits next to you, would pick up those bits instead.
Yeah.
Yes.
But instead, when asked to write some dialogue, goes, right,
no.
Voltaire, Voltaire, do it for me.
What do I do? I'm no good. I don't know what this character can say.
Okay, and how did each of you end up in the type of role you're in then, as a technical developer or content developer?
I started off in player support and then moved up into this, but I applied specifically for content dev. I think you applied for
I tried to do content, but they realised while I was doing my content trial, I was a lot more logical based.
Right.
So they saw that part of me was highly skilled compared to my ability to write a design for something that was potentially going to happen in game.
Okay, so it's almost science versus art, kind of.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Logic versus
something
else.
Logic versus something else. Logic versus flimsy, flamsy, whimsy.
Wishy-washy, make it up.
Wishy-washy, make it up. A wizard did it.
Which is why Mod Raven likes being a content developer, because he gets to make stuff up.
And a wizard always does everything.
Yes.
Okay, so when it comes down to it, your skill sets are very similar.
Yeah.
We can both pretty much do anything in the code base.
Right.
Between either of us, we both have that knowledge. Anyone in either content or tech dev has all that knowledge. I think it's just a preferred of which way you kind of...
Which way you approach stuff.
You approach stuff.
And which sort of projects that you would be wanting to do or be willing to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is this is less a deathmatch.
Sadly so.
And more a loving. We expected like pistols at dawn.
We can still do that if you want. We can try. We'll see what happens.
There are two god swords in this room. Whack each other with them, but I don't think that translates very well in podcast.
I don't know. The sound of you being beaten to a pulp by Mod Asherz, which, let's face it, is the likely result.
No, I'll cheat. It's fine.
But there are only two swords in the room, and you can't work the door on this room.
You win this round.
Okay, so what's been your favourite piece of content to work on, Mod Asherz? Which bit of content, rather than technical side,
actual content.
Which bit of the content stuff that you've touched
have
you most enjoyed working on?
I don't really know, to be honest. I've kind of, from being in the Ninja team, I've seen quite a lot of content and stuff going out before I moved. But there's so much stuff that I've kind of have touched upon that I can't think that.
Okay, well we'll
what I've
hop
done.
to Mod Raven then. Which piece of what you would consider technical content that you've been involved in?
I don't know if I have any that I would class as favourites. They're ones that I vaguely remember. I don't think it's quite the same thing. I did some redesign of the old loyalty store that I was quite proud of. I mean, it's not stuff that anyone would ever see, but it was...
Under the hood stuff. That's part of the difference with the technical stuff, isn't it? It isn't always stuff that's blatantly visible to players. It's stuff that connects all the bits underneath and lets you do all your stories and quests, Mod Raven.
Yeah.
Because without technical development, you'd be stuffed.
Nah, I just tell it differently. It's fine.
See, I think
so. In other words, it would just be a wizard. Does it?
It would just be a wizard. I would make an NPC wizard who would stand there and just say, "Hey guys, I did it," and that will work. That'd be fine. All the Elder Gold quest solved right there and then.
A wizard did it.
A wizard did it.
And you think our Lorehound community would like that? Yeah?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's fine. I'm sure our lore fans will be great fans of it. Please don't hurt me, guys.
It won't be pistols at dawn in this room. It'll be pistols at dawn from the community.
He's running away, going, "It was a joke, don't."
Whereas me in the background will be waving you on.
So it has become my realisation that you are in fact standing on the shoulders of Mod Asherz, and you will achieve nothing without him.
Given some of the code at the moment, that's probably fair. I've broken enough things that Mod Asherz has looked at, because we do code reviews for each other's work in our team. And
I was about to get to code reviews, actually.
And Asherz reviewed some of my code. It hasn't run away crying, which is a good sign, but has occasionally gone, maybe don't do this. It's like, oh, fine. Players don't need their bank, but whatever.
So, yes, you do code reviews for each other.
Yeah.
Is that something we normally do cross-discipline here, or...?
It's not normally cross-discipline. I mean, our case, code reviews are done by whoever can really do the code, particularly from the teams. But it's often useful if you've got a tech dev to get them to review your code, just so... because they've got that technical mind.
Yeah.
And they can look at it. Also, I suppose it kind of works in reverse, because a content dev can look at it and go, I see you've got the code right, but this bit, what? Because we do our own editing now as well, so it kind of helps with that.
Especially with me and sentences.
A sentence is not your strong point.
No.
Dialogue is.
Dialogue is not my strong point at all.
Right, okay. Right, well, thank you for coming in today, even if it didn't turn out to be a slaughter between you two, as much as we hoped. That I should point out, Mod Raven, before we came down to record this, was saying about how awesome he was, and how content dev is everything.
Yeah.
But he seems to...
technically true, apart from it's on the pillar of a tech dev.
Yes.
We need the tech devs to do the stuff, and it's content devs going, I'm too busy dealing with Dragonkin. You write that interface.
Right, well, thank you for coming down, and thank you for the insight.
It's all right.
Bye.
Bye.